Cruise Show, Power 106.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
So with what happened in Las Vegas, we thought it'd be a good idea to invite our good friends John Ortega and John Diaz. John Ortega is the CEO of the Emergency Preparedness Group. John Diaz is the VP of EPG. Good morning, Johns.
Morning. Thank you for
the
having
Johns are here.
The Johns are
Should we get my brother on the phone? He's a John.
Triple John.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There you go. So good morning, guys. Listen, you guys know what's going on, and this is a crazy time we're living in, right?
It is, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. I guess you know what? Let me start with this question. I'm at a show. There's a shooter. How can I help people? What do we do?
Well, first and foremost, you got to really be hyper vigilant.
Sure.
Now, in today's time, and that's the unfortunate thing of the modern area that we live in. It's just where no matter what show you're at, even in the grocery store, if you're even going to the park, it doesn't matter. We have to, as a society, be hyper vigilant.
Yeah.
You walk into any scenario or any situation, you got to know where your exits are, what the crowd looks like, where you're at, how to get out of a certain area. For example, what happened in Vegas, a lot of those individuals really didn't believe or even understand that could have even happened to them because it was an open event. It was
John,
open air.
most people believe that it'll never happen to me. It'll never happen where I'm at. Tragedy won't strike me. You know, it won't happen this type of place, right?
Correct. Like John was just saying, is you just have to be aware of your surroundings, and then how can you help somebody? You know, it's what we call the run, hide, fight.
Yeah.
You know, so what do you do in those scenarios? You have three different options. You can either run and out, like you saw a lot of the folks did in Vegas.
Yeah, running.
Or you hide.
Sure.
If you're in an office building, you hide somewhere that you feel you're comfortable in hiding. Or what they call fight or defend in a situation where an active shooter literally knows they only have a certain amount of time.
Sure.
And so that's why they're not going to sit there and try to prolong, trying to get to somebody. Vegas was completely a different situation. It's what we call now a paradigm shift that has taken place. Just like when Columbine occurred, it was a paradigm shift as well for law enforcement.
Yeah.
Of how you react, how you respond, and it's now, who would have thought, what happened in Vegas, happened the way it did.
Yeah. What do you tell someone when because your first instinct is to panic. I think as a human being,
right.
You're a human being. You're going to panic. It happens. Right. What do you tell someone?
Instinct is basically human instinct is
Sure.
to freeze. When you, and I'm sure we've all been there in those types of situations where you all of a sudden get an experience, a car accident or something like that, and your first instinct is to stop and wait, what's going on around
Sure.
me? And you see it in the video of what happened. And what we always kind of recommend is, if you can snap out of it as soon as possible, is get people to go with you if you can. If not, just think, and unfortunately, think of yourself, get out. Run in the direction opposite of where you're hearing the sounds that are
Sure.
being emanated, or the basically the gunfire. Another kind of thing that was going on is, for example, what was the instinct there? Everybody decided to get down.
Right.
Because they thought maybe the shooter was basically shooting into the crowd from the sides, or that's what walking around.
Yeah.
It wasn't until, and I got to give credit to, based on some of the stuff I've seen, to a lot of the first responders, the off-duty officers, the off-duty firefighters that were there, who their training kicked in, and they first and foremost, and there's actually a footage that I was watching recently where an off-duty officer was pointing at where the shooter was at, kind of pointing it out to the crowd, and then was picking people off the floor. Run, go. And that's just kind of, if we instinctively can basically get out of that deer in the headlights scenario,
right,
and just help each other out, just to go in the direction opposite of what's happening, and just get out of the area. That's basically the first thing we need to do.
Right. All right, listen, the Emergency Preparedness Group. Now, John and John, please give us your resume. What do you guys do?
Basically, we assist governmental agencies, mainly school districts and corporate as well. Like our biggest corporate right now is Kaiser Permanente, Southern California. And then what we assist with schools is developing emergency plans, how to react during whatever emergency it may be on a campus. Then we train and drill at the school sites. We train the employees, again, how to react, even in an active shooter situation. And we conduct active shooter drills.
Wow.
Literally.
That's a thing now.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's unfortunate.
Are companies, are different companies incorporating this type of training or are giving their employees this type of access to this training?
It's unfortunate, but I think they now have to.
Yeah.
We didn't, when we started this company, and I'm sorry, John actually started this company, the other John, it was basically to help out with preparing school districts and corporate America in just as dealing with a disaster.
Sure.
We're talking earthquakes and natural occurrences. And now, because our background is basically former law enforcement, all the instructors and the staff that we have are either current or former police, fire, first responders. So in turn, now we've shifted and we're doing more of this, the active shooter. I was a former academy instructor, tactical instructor, police tactics and all that. So what we do is now we've kind of helped corporate America to basically, we go in and start from the top down rather than the down up. We start with the CEOs of the corporations and work our way down to teach them, hey, this is what you need to have for your staff. All the way up from an emergency operations center in for example, Kaiser Permanente, the large hospitals, they need to have an emergency operations center for these types of events.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's basically the unfortunate part of our world today. Now, all of us, even here at this radio station, what are your security protocols? What do you guys normally do in the event of, for example, right now, someone was to walk into this building and something was to happen? Where do you go?
Right.
Who do you contact? It's really not, the security here is really good, and that's all I'll say that. But to get into the building, first responders, how do they get up to you?
Sure.
All that you need to think about.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some training like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
sounds
Just to
like-
know what to do so I don't panic and I can
Yeah.
help. What's up, Garcia?
It's a thing at schools. Someone asked me that yesterday.
right?
Does your kid get trained for situations like that? And it is true. They call it a dangerous person on campus. They don't really say shooter, obviously not to scare the kids,
Sure.
but they say dangerous person on campus, and they have a drill specifically for that.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I'm thankful for guys like you because I want my kids to be safe, and I don't want them to panic. And any kind of the opportunity for them to practice this is so welcome, and I'm thankful for that, man.
And tragedy
Thank you.
does not discriminate. It could happen in a school, at a grocery store, at a concert, anywhere.
Absolutely.
An amusement park. It doesn't matter.
And that's one of the things, and as you touched on, as far as the schools, that's kind of the thing that we take pride in, is taking these schools and going to the schools and giving them their comprehensive safety plans. And we don't do the active shooter training for the students themselves, but we train the staff, the teachers, the principals, the administrators, even all the way up to the district office level, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to have to guide the children into what to do.
Yeah.
So for them, for example, we do the lockdown drills.
Yeah.
So we teach them, if there's a stranger, how to lock down, how to get them, into a safe spot.
Sure.
But ultimately, it's for the adults to guide them.
But John, I think John,
John's.
John's,
JD, John.
I think we're headed, and this is scary to say, but I think we're headed into a place where everyone is going to need to know exactly what to do in situations like that. We talk about training like the CEOs and the guys up top, but and faculty and stuff like that. But man, it would probably mean so much to teach civilians, I guess, what to do as well.
And that's something we all hear and we kind of pump as well.
Yeah.
You can do that on your own. There's a great video that's out there, and we actually take part of the curriculum from that video called Run, Hide, Fight. You can YouTube it. It was put together by the Houston Police Department and the Department of Homeland Security. It's just a simple 3 or 5 minute video you can watch, and it actually shows you what to do in the event of, for example, in the workplace, or if you're at home, or however it may be, in the event of an active shooter. But you're right, absolutely. The actual personalized training, we do that as far as a business, but we don't, like I said, we don't sell ourselves. We don't want to say, hey, you hire us. Do it on your own. Think about it in the sense of, hey, there's tons of places where you can do some training. We also recommend CERT training, which is community emergency response training you can do in your community. Fire departments put it together, and a lot of other people. We do it as well, but you could do it locally at your own community. That just shows you how to respond in a disaster. For example, the people that were there Sunday night, how to triage somebody who's got a bullet wound, who's got injuries like that. What do you do with
What do you do if you have no medical background?
You honestly, it's just plug the hole. I mean, put
Yeah,
pressure
right.
on
Yeah,
the tourniquet,
Yeah.
plug the hole, and do what you can. Get them to a hospital as soon as possible. Again, the heroism that we saw Sunday.
Amazing.
It was so
People
awesome.
that were just absolutely had no medical training whatsoever were doing what they could, getting them in their personal vehicles, trucks, however they get to the hospitals.
Yeah.
And it's time. It's literally what they call the golden hour. Getting them there to that emergency triage center that they can start the medical treatment as soon as possible is going to save the lives.
Yeah.
But you touched a good point. It basically is going to fall upon us as now, I guess, people who experience this stuff on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
To learn on our own.
As
what do
a
we do?
society, we
As
should
a
be
society.
prepared. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a very scary situation, man. Thank you guys very much for joining
Yes,
us this
thank
morning.
you.
We appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you.
Honestly, yeah, one time for these
So
guys.
much
The
to
Johns.
learn and prepare for.
The Johns, they're going on tour, man. These guys.
Absolutely.
I'm
And something
telling you.
we do as well, we have our social media. If anyone has questions,
yeah,
feel
let them
free
know.
to follow us. We're on Twitter at EPG. I'm sorry, EP Group Inc.
Yeah.
And fire questions off to us or whatever.
If there's a company out there or an educator that wants to get in contact with you guys
Absolutely.
and wants to meet with you guys on preparedness, what's the best way to do that?
Same thing. Facebook. We have a Facebook page. It's all on the, I think it's
Oh, here you go.
www. Excuse me.
It's okay. We'll edit it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. So how do they get the info?
Well, they can follow us on Facebook. Basically, it's epgroup.org. Instagram, epgroup.inc. Or on Twitter at epgroupinc. So
cool.
either way, just have, if you are out there and you want to just even get some information, we'll be happy to send you anything we have on not just active shooter, but disaster preparedness anytime.
Very cool. EPG. Thank you, John.
John
We
Squared.
appreciate it. There they go. It's a Crew Show, Power 106.